This is Piali Callahan. I am an instructor and research specialist at Howard County Library System. And today we have with us Razan Sahuri, actually in her kitchen, where she's going to show us recipes starring or highlighting canned chicken and canned tuna. And before we hand it over to Razan, a few words about her. Razan works at the University of Maryland Extension. She is Howard County's Maryland SNAP Ed nutrition educator. Razan holds a bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics and a master's degree in public health. Through her work with the UME, Razan partners with Howard County Public School System, Head Start Centers, and the Howard County Food Bank to deliver nutrition education to students, parents, and teachers. These collaborations also involve leveraging resources between Maryland SNAP Ed and local community agencies to facilitate greater access to and availability of healthy food options and influence the adoption of policy, systems, and physical environment changes related to a healthier lifestyle. So Razan, it's all yours.
Thank you for having me. It's one of the highlights of my week when I'm doing this lesson. So let's go ahead and start. Do you see this?
Yes.
I'm assuming yes. Okay, perfect. All right, so welcome everyone. Today we're going to talk about canned chicken and canned fish. In general, you can find, canned chicken, canned fish in their grocery stores and food assistance sites, the food bank, food pantries. So they're found in abundance and they're very easy to use. And hopefully that's what I'm going to highlight today. So briefly, we're going to discuss the health benefits of canned chicken and fish. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the 5 different ways to use it. And then I'm going to do a cooking demonstration highlighting 3 recipes. Although I have Q&A here, please feel free to ask anytime in the chat. And then perhaps when I'm prepping the food or when we're doing something, they can ask me the questions and hopefully I'll get them answered for you. So with that, let's start with the health benefits of canned chicken and fish. First of all, they're a great source of protein. When you think of, chicken or fish, think of it as just like the fresh chicken or fresh fish. So it's the same thing. They're good quality, high protein. They're also a great source of vitamins and minerals like zinc, B12, magnesium. So all of these are great for to help boost the immune system. They're great for a healthy body. They're also great for the brain to increase the immune system. And then if we're talking about something like fish, for example, sardines, where the bones are still in with the meat itself, they're also rich in calcium and vitamin D, which, they're great for bone health. And then canned fish in general, especially the fattier ones, they are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are also great for brain health. All right. So when we go to the grocery store to get some of those canned goods, you might find some different types, some different varieties. And I wanted to draw your attention to a couple of things just for you to know what the differences. The first thing is the different types of meats. So when I say different types of meats, let's say we're talking about canned chicken. It can be white meat, just like regular chicken, or it can have a combination of white meat and brown meat. So brown meats usually tend to have higher fat content. So if you're trying to watch your fat intake, that's something to be mindful of. The second thing is the canning medium. So again, just like, for example, with tuna, it can be canned in oil or it can be canned in water. So usually when it's canned in water, it's lighter. It does not have that oil to it. Yes, it might affect the flavor. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but also it might be it would reduce the calories, it would reduce the fat content, especially if you're trying to monitor your fat intake, that might be one thing to watch. And then The third thing is sometimes there's additions to the canned goods. So for example, canned chicken, you might find ribs in it. It says with meat, with rib meat. So again, when you have rib meat or other things, that would also increase its fat content. Sometimes as well, there might be some other things added like sugar or salt. So make sure you read the label. And make sure you compare when you're there. And if, at first that might take you a while, but then eventually you'll get used to it and you can do it quickly. Let's move to the 5 ways we can use the canned fish and the canned chicken. And this week I was telling Nancy and Piali before that it was a little bit challenging to do the 5 way the way we usually do it. With that said, there's a lot of recipes out there for our canned fish and chicken, but it's not the traditional way we do this lesson. The first one is a salad. You can always add canned chicken, canned fish. And when I say canned fish, it can be tuna, it can be salmon, it can be sardine. If you have any others, please feel free to write them in the chat. So you can turn your salad from a regular salad into maybe a meal, a complete meal with protein where, it's the star of the meal. With that said, you're going to go home today with a recipe for, it's a veggie salmon or veggie tuna salad, but you can also substitute your fish with canned chicken as well. And when we're talking about canned fish or canned tuna or canned chicken, you can also use fresh. So it's just a substitute. So if you have fresh, you can use fresh. If you don't have fresh, you can use canned instead of fresh. So they're interchangeable. The second way to use our canned fish or canned chicken is in a pasta or a casserole. I love the concept of a casserole because you can use your leftover carb. That can be your pasta or your rice, the grain you have, and then you can add vegetables to it. Again, if you have leftover vegetables, you can put that. And then you can put your protein in the form of in the form of canned fish or canned tuna, canned chicken, excuse me, and then some sauce and bake it. And then you're also going to take a recipe for a pasta, a tuna pasta recipe. The third is in soups and stews. Again, just like the way you would use, let's say, chicken in your chicken soup, you can add the canned chicken, the canned chicken in lieu of the fresh chicken. I personally have never tried that before, but I found a lot of recipes out there. You just need to, substitute your fresh with your canned and you're good to go. The fourth way, and I felt that it deserves a step by itself or a category by itself, it's lettuce wraps. And I love lettuce wraps. It works as a snack. It works as an appetizer. It works as lunch. It might work as, part of dinner if you're hosting. So it's very versatile. Today we're going to sample together, or not sample, I'm going to show you tuna lettuce wraps, but again, you can also use chicken instead. And the nice thing is you can add any veggies you like. It's very interactive. Kids can help in the kitchen. They can, scoop the filling into the lettuce. So it's also interactive for kids. And then the fifth and final way is, I wrote it as handhelds. What I meant was things you can use using your hands. So like a sandwich or a wrap or a burrito, a quesadilla. So, with a burrito, for example, you can make your own burrito and put chicken in it. You can add your chili spices and, whatever you like to add to your burrito and you're good to go. Or you can turn it into quesadilla, a chicken quesadilla, or a tuna, like a tuna melt kind of quesadilla, and that works. But you can also use your canned fish to make patties, even your canned chicken. So, you can add your bulking agent to it with some spices and some herbs, and you have a patty. And you're going to receive a very yummy salmon patty recipe. With that, I think we should start with our food demos. Do we have any questions so far? Okay, until we start, I need to turn on my camera. Okay. All right, Nancy or Piali, can you please pick? Oh, perfect, thank you. So the first recipe is the chicken Waldorf salad. I cannot tell you how many times I've sampled the chicken Waldorf salad and how many times people rave about it. This is a classic that I've used in so many different settings, and people usually enjoy it. And I've seen somebody asking about the lettuce, and I'll get to that hopefully soon. So for our chicken Waldorf salad, this is enough for 6 people. I'm going to show you the ingredients. So the first thing is you need 1 apple. This was a huge apple. You can also coat it with orange juice or lemon juice so it does not brown. So that's why it has some liquid. I already put some orange juice. We need a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. Right. 1/4 cup walnuts, and it's just for crunch. If you prefer not to have that, you know, it's your choice. And then 1/4 cup raisins, or you can put cranberries, and cranberries work amazing with this. I think personally the cranberries taste better, but that's just me. 2 stalks of, sorry, I closed this and I forgot to open it before class. 2 stalks of celery, that's more than 2. I think they were around 3. I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes when I'm chopping, it's very therapeutic, so I end up chopping more. And then 1/2 of an onion. This is 1 onion, but we're going to use 1/2 of the onion for another recipe. So I'm just going to use 1/2. Okay. And then you just mix it. Oh, sorry. That's the first time that this happens. Oh. You know what? I'm just going to stop. All right. Is it working? It's still tilted. Sorry about that. That's the very first time that this happens. Is it okay if I keep it this way?
We can still
Okay.
still see pretty well. And we do have a question. If we can you use yogurt instead of mayo in this?
Absolutely. Yes, you can use yogurt. You can use a mix of yogurt and mayonnaise. And then the recipe asks, and this is optional, for 2 teaspoons of curry. And I cannot tell you how much this curry adds flavor. This curry that I have here today is super spicy, so I'm not going to add the full amount, but I would just, you know, add it to taste. It gives it a very nice different depth to it. So you can, you know, you can experiment with that. You don't have to add it if you're not familiar with curry or you're not comfortable using it. You can use paprika or other things. This is, okay. So, and the nice thing about this recipe is it works as a nice side. You can also put it in a sandwich. It's great for when it's warmer outside. One thing though, it's better if you put it in the fridge at least 1 hour before serving. So this is our chicken Waldorf salad. And I'm going to, so you can see it, now that the camera is tilted, and I apologize for that. So that's our first recipe. Any questions regarding this recipe?
No, just other than that you can use yogurt instead of mayo. And then we have a general question about dangers of using canned meat.
Oh, that's an excellent question, and I'll get to it. Just give me 1 second. Now we're going to make a chicken power wrap, and the nice thing about this wrap is that it's loaded with protein, and that's why it's called power wrap. It's great for lunch. It's also great for a snack. You can maybe cut it, you know, have a smaller amount for a snack. It works also for dinner. And what's great about it is it's also very fresh. So you need tortillas. This recipe is for 4, so you would need 4 tortillas to make 4. And then you need 8 tablespoons of hummus. And this is fresh hummus. And you can buy it from the grocery store or you can make it. And for every tortilla, you need 2 tablespoons. So total, we need 8. We need 1.5 cups of chicken, canned chicken. You can use, your leftover chicken, or you can use canned chicken. And then you need 1 cup of cherry tomatoes, and then eventually 1 cup of spinach. And what we're going to do is basically make a wrap. So we start with the hummus. Think of it as the mayo or the the glue. So you can spread it. And usually hummus is more, common with pita bread or maybe veggies, not with tortillas as much, but it also tastes great with tortillas. So I like to keep the sides, not to spread anything on them. So when you hold it, you don't get hummus on your hands. So you start with that. And then you take your chicken, just a little bit of that, and you sprinkle it. Okay. You can add your cherry tomatoes. I like to put them this way. It's easy. So I make sure they don't fall. They get glued to the hummus. In terms of food safety, once you open the cans, make sure that if you still have some chicken or tuna, to remove it from the can if you want to refrigerate it. When it's closed, as long as there's no bulgings or anything that looks weird or strange, it's good to go. Usually they have a long shelf life. Canned meats have long shelf life. So as long as they're closed in a cool, dark place in your pantry, I think they're good to go. So you can roll this or you can make it like a quesadilla. But here it is, super easy. And because we don't have a lot on the sides, nothing will fall. And you can cut it in half just to make things a little bit easier.
And Razan, we have a question about what are your favorite seasonings that you might want to add to that wrap?
Ooh, favorite seasonings. I personally like chili. So I like things that are a little bit spicy. So personally, I think I would add chili, black pepper as well. How about everybody else? Anybody has pepper? I see paprika, and yes, absolutely. Paprika works. Anybody else? Please feel free to let us know your thoughts. The final recipe is the lettuce wraps, and this works with tuna. I'm going to try one last time to turn this off and turn it on. It's bothering me. Oh, sorry. Okay, when it rains, it pours. So for this recipe, we need 2 cans of tuna. And, oh yeah. So that's my tuna. My tuna was in water, just to keep things a little bit lighter. And I forgot to mention that the mayonnaise that we used for the chicken Waldorf salad was light mayo. So after the tuna, 2 plum tomatoes cut into small pieces. Again, if you like it chunkier, you can go ahead and make them bigger. Half of the onion. Remember, the other half we used, so now we are using the other half. Juice of 1 lemon. I feel with fish, lemon is always something that gives it a nice kick. And then 1/3 of Italian dressing, low-fat Italian dressing. So you can have that ready if you buy, ready-made Italian. I make my own. with vinegar, oil, lemon, and some Italian spice herbs. So 1/3 of a cup. I think I have more than 1/3, so we're good. And you mix all of these together. You can add corn to it if you like. You can add other veggies, whatever you like. All the recipes are forgiving. And then we need lettuce. So for every lettuce, we are going to scoop 2 tablespoons for every lettuce leaf. So I'm just going to hold it to make things easier. So you can see. And this smells amazing. You can also shred carrots for color. There's one. You know what? Although I said 2, I think this can afford another tablespoon. So here you go. And you know, you can hold it this way. You can close it when you're eating. Let's do another one. I think that's going to be my snack afterwards. Any other questions? Or did I answer all the questions?
We have some great suggestions for spices, and we did have a question earlier about the type of lettuce. Do you have a preference?
Yes. So romaine lettuce is a great option because it has a little bit more nutritional value than iceberg lettuce. But you know, you can use whatever you have at home. You can also use other things. If you don't have lettuce, you can use, I forgot the name. For some reason, cabbages, sorry. You can use cabbages. So yeah, that's our wrapped lettuce wrap. All right, with that, I'm going to stop sharing. All right. So other than that, today we talked about 5 different things to use canned meat in general, chicken or fish. And then you're going to go home, other than all the recipes that we discussed, you're going to go home with this flyer that you see on the screen where it has those 5 other ways, like the soup, lettuce wrap, burritos, salad, and pasta. Those are more general. And that's it. Any questions? Concerns, comments, some things you would like to share?
I'm going to share the results of our poll from earlier.
Yes. Okay. So it looks like canned tuna is more popular than chicken. The nice thing about chicken, just like tuna, it's a pantry staple. It's very shelf stable. You can keep it in your pantry. You can, you know, use it, like, for example, right now, if you don't want to go to the grocery store and you still want some protein, you can have that. You can make your salads, and then those salads, you can put them in sandwiches. So they're very versatile. And as I mentioned before, they're a great source of protein. And they're very easy to make. As you saw, you know, those recipes were very easy to make. The thing that takes time the most, I think, would be the vegetable chopping. That's it. And yes, next lesson, we're going to talk about canned beans. So we'd love to have you next month as well. When is it next month? It's the 2nd Tuesday of every month. So it's going to be the 2nd Tuesday. Is it the 9th or the 13th? I think.
The 13th.
13th, yes. Okay. All right.
Does anybody have any questions for Razan? You can raise your hand or unmute yourself. We welcome any questions. We're glad you all came out today, and we want to thank Razan again for sharing these delicious recipes for you, something a little lighter as the weather gets warmer. So we're having the start of what is hopefully spring here to stay here in Maryland.
Yes. And Nancy, somebody asked about the recordings. Where can they find the recording?
So we are going to work on, we're going to post all the recordings hopefully up soon. We'll let you know in a follow-up email where you'll be able to find them on the YouTube channel. The recipes for today will be sent in your follow-up email. The recipes from the previous classes that were on the second Tuesdays and future classes are always attached to the event listing on our calendar of events. So you can always go back and access them. You don't need to save them anywhere. They're always there. We usually wait to post them until the day of the class, though.
Perfect. Any other last minute comments or questions? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm seeing the thank yous, and thank you. I really appreciate it.
And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording, and we will stick around for a few more last minute questions if anybody has any.